everyone, I am Dr. Devyani and you are watching Epistasis. So in today's video we will quickly recap Animal Kingdom. So it is a very big chapter, so we have to make two part of it. So this video is mainly helpful for CBSE class 11 students and for their annual exam, and also for students who are appearing for NEET, and also for other candidates who are appearing for competitive exams and opted for biology. So without wasting much time, let's get into the video. So first thing is that why to classify animals. Mainly animals are those living organisms where in particularly in animal kingdom all the eukaryotic multicellular living organisms and living animals are grouped into this animal kingdom. Okay, so why classification is very much important? Classification is very important because after classifying so systematically or in an organized manner, we are able to understand the basic characteristics of different types of animals. We now, after classification of animals, we have definite systematic position of each and every animal, and from this systematic position we have a clear cut idea about its different important characters. So it is very much helpful for studying different animals. Now what are the basis of classification? So first thing is so there are different character or these which are acting like a basis of this animal kingdom classification. So we will first talk about these in a very brief manner. So number one is level of classification, level of organization. So here organization means they are a structural organization. Okay, so this level of structural or their level of structural organization can be of different types. So number one is cellular. Here different cells are present in a multicellular organism, but they are very loosely attached to each other. Okay, so there is a loose organization of cells are there. So these are cellular. It is a characteristics of primitive animals. Next level of advancement is tissue level, where different group of cells are designated to do some particular work. So they are forming tissues. So there are different tissues are present inside an animal structure. So these type of organization is called tissue level of organization. Then comes organ. So here a number of tissues are forming an organ. Okay, so there are organs and they are performing some specific functions. So this type of organization is called organ level of classification, organ level of organization. Next is organ system. Here a number of organs are performing a particular job. Okay, so there are division of labors present inside this organ system. Here a number of organs are designated to do a particular work, like digestive system. So there are different organs inside the digestive system, and each of these organs are performing their own work, and their all over the whole work is related to digestion. Okay, so this is called organ system of organization. So these are four different type of different level of organization inside an animal body. Okay, next come is circulatory system. So in circulatory system of any animals can be of two type: open circulatory system and closed. Open means here just heart just pump the blood, and all the cells and tissues are bathed into it. Okay, so and in case of closed type, there are particular channels or particular networks are there, and they are called arteries and capillaries, etc., and veins, etc. So this so blood, if heart is pumping blood through these arteries and veins and capillaries, and they will carry the blood to each and every part of the animal. Okay, so So this is called closed type, and this obviously it is more advanced than open type. Okay, again digestive system is also can be, or alimentary canal can be of complete and incomplete. If there is only one opening, that is mouth is there, only one opening is there, then it is incomplete. But if there is two opening, mouth and anus, then we will call it a complete digestive system, right? Again, body symmetry, it is another important basis of classification. Body symmetry, so body symmetry of the particular animal can be of three types. Most primitive one is asymmetry. That means if we cannot divide the whole animal body into two equal halves, so no plane can divide the animal into two equal halves, so this is asymmetry. So this is most primitive one. Next come to radial symmetry. So if we just draw a line from in any plane, then it will give you two equal halves of the total animal, so it is called a radial symmetry. And bilateral symmetry, if we just draw a line in a particular plane, then only we will get two equal halves of the animal, so it is called bilateral symmetry. So there are also three different types of body symmetry. Again, another basis of classification is diploblastic or triploblastic organization. That means in case of diploblastic organism, so there are two different layer of embryonic layers. So the outer layer is called ectoderm and the inner layer is called endoderm, and there is no definite layer is present in between them. So this pink line is called mesoglia. Okay, so there is only two definite layer is present, that is ectoderm and endoderm, and an undifferentiated layer is there, it is mesoglia. So this is diploblastic animal because two layers are there. And in case of triploblastic animals, there are three layers. Outer one is ectoderm, inner one is endoderm, and this pink color portion, that is which is in case of diploblastic animal is mesoglia, is now a definite membrane, right? The membrane definite layer, forming a layer. So this is, so three layers are there here in case of triploblastic animals: ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. In between is mesoderm. So that's why this type of organization is called triploblastic. Again, another system is, another basis of classification is coelom. Coelom means body cavity. Body cavity means the portion between the body wall and the gut wall. Okay, so this portion is called body cavity. So if there is a body cavity which is lined by this mesoderm, then those animals are called coelomates. That means coelom is there. Okay, body cavity means coelom, and it is just covered by mesoderm. So in case of coelomates, this coelom is present. In case of acoelomate, which is the most primitive one, here no body cavity or coelom is present. And there is another in between type that is called pseudocoelomate. Here not a definite coelom is there, but there are some pouches are present and they are encircled by mesoderm. So that's why they are called pseudocoelomate or false coelomate. So this is the picture of coelomate, and it is called so this is coelom, this portion is coelom. Okay, and this is pseudocoelom. See, this is the coelom, it is called pseudocoelom. Here some pouches are present which are just covered by mesoderm. Okay, so this is pseudocoelom, and in case of acoelomate, there is no coelom is present. Okay, so this is the structure of acoelomate, number C. So here no coelom is present, so no body cavity is there. So this white portion is the body cavity. Okay, it is just lined by this pink layer, it is mesoderm. So this is body cavity, but here the pink line is not covered any portion of it. Okay, so this is no body cavity is there. That means gut wall and body wall, there is no space in between gut wall and the body wall. So these type of animals are acoelomate. Next, segmentation. So it is another basis of classification. Here externally or internally the body of the animal can be divided into different segments. So it is present in case of, particularly in case of annelids, where different segments or metameres are present. Okay, so this is another basis of classification. And the last and most important one is notochord. Notochord is a definite structure which is present inside the animal body, mainly dorsally. Okay, so if some animals do not have notochord and some have notochord, so if this notochord is not present, then we will call it as non-chordate. Okay, and where the notochord is there, then those type of animals are grouped under chordate. So here from phylum Porifera to phylum Hemichordata, all these are non-chordate. They do not possess any notochord in their body, so they are non-chordates. And after that, from another specific phylum is there, it is called chordate, right? So we will in this part of the video, we will in this part 1 of the animal kingdom, we will talk about non-chordates. Okay, so start with phylum Porifera. So they are most primitive form of primitive organ animal kingdom, primitive members of this whole group or the animal kingdom group, and they are mainly sponges or pore bearers. Okay, so many sponges have different of numerous number of pores in their body wall. So they are sponges, and they are generally marine. Generally means most of them are marine, but not all. Okay, but so generally they are marine, and mostly they are asymmetrical because they are primitive animals. So most of them are asymmetrical, no symmetry in their body. And they are primitive multicellular animals. They are the most primitive type of multicellular animals with cellular level of organization. Because they are primitive, they have the almost lowest type of cellular organization, and it is called cellular level of organization. Okay, and their main important feature of this Porifera is their canal system. So they have a very strong system and a unique system which is which is present inside their body. It is called canal system. Okay, and this canal system, there are different pores are there. So this canal system is mainly for water transportation or water transport, and there are very minute pores are there, and these pores are called ostia. And the medium portion or medial central cavity is there, which is called spongiocele, and another opening is there, it is called where the water goes out, and it is called osculum. Okay, and in this pathway the water transport is very helpful for them for food gathering, because they are marine. So they are using this water canal system or water transport system to gather their food. Okay, so again there are some specific type of cells called choanocyte cells or collar cells, and they are present at the line of spongiocele and the canals. Okay, so these are most important character of Porifera. Their digestion is intracellular, that means inside the cell, and their skeleton is made up of some spicules or spongin fibers. Okay, they are also hermaphrodite. Hermaphrodite means they are bisexual. That means their sexes are not separate, and they reproduce asexually by fragmentation. So asexual reproduction is also there, and sexually by gamete formation. Okay, and the fertilization is internal, and that means the fertilization is occurring inside the body. Development is indirect. Indirect development means there are some larval stages are there. Okay, so this type of, so amphiblastula is the larval stage in case of cycon, and a parenchyma is present in case case of Leucosolenia. Okay, so these are two members of Porifera group, and here these are example of two different larvae. So example is Cycon or Spongilla. Spongilla also called freshwater sponge or Euspongia, that is bath sponge. So this is the picture of Cycon. So you have to remember each and every example which are written in your NCERT book. Okay, so do not skip any example and their common names as scientific names and everything. Okay, so you have to remember. So here in it, this is a quick revision, so I do not mention in each and every examples here, but you have to remember or you have to study each and every example of your NCERT book with scientific names, okay, that are written in your NCERT books, which are written in your NCERT book. Okay, next is, so this is Porifera. Next is Cnidaria or Coelenterata. So next group or next advanced phylum is Cnidaria or Coelenterata. They are mainly aquatic. So all of them are aquatic, mostly marine. So most of the members are marine. They can be sessile or free swimming. Sessile means they are fixed at one position, and free swimming, that means they can move. They have radial symmetrical, their body is radially symmetrical. That means a little advancement has occurred from Porifera to Cnidaria. In case of Porifera, there is cellular organization, and cellular organization, and there is asymmetrical. The body is asymmetrical, but in case of symmetry, there is little advancement. This phylum Cnidaria, all the members are mainly radially symmetrical. So, okay, they also have nidoblast or nematocyst in their. So this is another important character of the phylum Cnidaria, that is nidoblast and nematocyst. So these are, the name also Cnidaria is derived from nidoblast cells, and they consist of stinging capsule or nematocyst. So these nidoblast or nidocyte cells have this stinging nematocyst in them, and they are present at the tentacles and the body, and it is present in the epidermis, used for various purposes like anchorage or defense or capture of prey, etc. So this is, in case of Porifera, the important character is canal system, and in case of Cnidaria, nidoblast cells is the main character. Okay, they have nidoblast cells and nematocysts. They show tissue level of organization, so another important feature. Okay, so in case of Porifera, it is cellular level. In case of Cnidaria, it shows a tissue level of organization, and they are diploblastic. That means two layers are there, ectoderm and endoderm. Statocyst is also present. So statocyst is a sense organ for balance. So it is again another important character, that is statocyst is present. Central gastrovascular cavity is there with a single opening. So this is called hypostome. So this opening is called a hypostome, and or it is working like a mouth. Digestion both intra and extracellular, but in case of Porifera, only intercellular digestion is there. Now specific members of Cnidaria, that is corals, have skeleton composed of calcium carbonate. It is an very unique character of a unique member of Cnidaria, that is corals. And their body can be of two types: polyps, that means they are sessile, they are fixed at one position, and medusa, they are free swimming. Okay, so in some animals there are both polyps and medusa, two phases are also there, and here these polyp and medusa are coming one after another, just like the plant kingdom or the members of or just like the plants. So here alternation of generation, here this specific type of alternation of generation is called metagenesis, where these polyps produces medusa asexually and medusa produce polyps sexually. Okay, so example is Obelia. In case of Obelia, both polyps and medusas are there, right? Next example is Hydra, Physalia, Adamsia. So I have not written every example here, so you have to remember this. And this is a structure of polyp, Adamsia, and this is a free swimming umbrella like structure which is just floating in the water, and it is called Aurelia. Okay, so coming to the next phylum, that is Ctenophora. So phylum Ctenophora, they are exclusively marine. That means all of the members are present in the habitat of marine environment, and they are radially symmetrical, triploblastic or acellular. That means they do not have any body cavity. They have tissue level of organization, and again important character is comb plates. Okay, so they have 8 rows of cilia, and these are looking like combs. Okay, so these are called comb plates are there, and they are helping in their locomotion. They also have bioluminescence. That means they can glow. Ctenophores, the property of living organisms to emit light. Okay, again important character is coloblast or lasso cells. So these type of particular cells are present on the tentacles for capturing food and prey. Okay, so they are mainly present in the tentacles, and their digestive tract is complete. Complete means both mouth and on anus is there. Before Ctenophora, the digestive tract is incomplete, right? Now both digestion is both extracellular and intercellular. Their reproduction is sexual, and sexes not separate. Okay, fertilization is external. Okay, it is another important character of Ctenophora, that here fertilization is external with indirect development. That means here also larva is present, and this type of larva is called cdipid larva. Okay, and example is Pleurobranchia or Ctenoplana. So this is the example of Pleurobranchia. This is the figure of picture of Pleurobranchia. Okay, so this is Ctenophora. Next phylum is Platyhelminthes. So they are mainly flatworms. So flatworms are, all the flatworms are grouped under this phylum. It is called Platyhelminthes, and they are all endoparasites to animals or any animals, including human beings also. Okay, so they are endoparasites. Their body is bilaterally symmetrical. So it is another advanced character which is present in Platyhelminthes, that is their body is bilaterally symmetrical, right? Next, they are triploblastic. That means 3 layers are of membrane layers are there. That means ectoderm, endoderm, and mesoderm. So it is another important character, and they shows organ level of class organization. So he from Platyhelminthes, organ level of organization, organs are introduced. Now their digestive system is also incomplete. So here some regression, you can say that the character is just reversed. So before it, Ctenophora, in case of Ctenophora, digestive system is complete, but not in Platyhelminthes. So it is another character. So this happens in some phylums also. So digestive system in case of Platyhelminthes is incomplete. They have some hooks and suckers. Okay, so they just help to just attach with their host. So they have hooks and suckers they present in their parasitic forms, and they have some specialized flame cells. So flame cells for osmoregulation and excretion. So there are flame cells are also present in Platyhelminthes, and they have bilateral nervous system. Bilateral nervous system means ladder like nervous systems are there. That means 2 cords of nerve branches repeatedly in an array resembling a ladder. So here bilateral nervous systems are present in Platyhelminthes, and head end has a collection of ganglia. Okay, so in case of in the portion of head, there is a collection of ganglia is there, and it also integrates signals from sensory organs such as eye spots. Okay, so nervous system of Platyhelminthes has some development than its previous phylums. Now fertilization is internal, and development is also indirect. So in case of planaria, there is high regeneration capacity is there. So it is important characters for planaria only. Here high regeneration capacity is present in case of planaria. An example is Taenia and Fasciola. So these are the picture. Taenia is this one, this is tapeworm, and Fasciola or liver fluke is this one. Okay, So next is phylum Astelminthes. So they are round worms. So there are two types of worms mainly. One is flat worms, which is grouped under Platyhelminthes, and as in case of Astelminthes, they are round worms. So they may be free living or aquatic, free living, and they are aquatic and terrestrial or parasitic. So different type of mode are there, that is they may be aquatic or terrestrial or parasitic, right? So they are mainly roundworm because their cross section is circular. Okay, next they show organ system level of organization. This is another advancement than platyhelminths. So there is organ system level of organization is there. They are bilaterally symmetrical, they are triploblastic, pseudocoelomate is there. So before that all are acoelomate, but from Astelminthes, Astelminthes is first. It shows some type of advancement, that is pseudocoelomate. They are pseudocoelomate. Okay. Then syncytial epidermis is there. That means a single layer of cytoplasm with numerous nucleus in them. So the epidermis is a continuous layers of cytoplasm with numerous number of nucleus in it. So this is called syncytial epidermis. And their elementary canal is complete with well-developed musculopharynx. So they have also well-developed musculopharynx in them, and they are dioecious. Dioecious means their sexes are separate. So male and female both sexes are there, and fertilization internal. Their development may be direct or indirect. Okay, both can happen, development in direct or indirect. An example is Ascaris, Eucheraria, etc. So this is the structure of Ascaris. Here this is the male one and this is the female one. Female one is little longer than male, and there are two they are dioecious. That means their sexes are separate. Next phylum is Annelida. So they are aquatic or terrestrial, free living or parasitic. So both can happen, and they shows organ system level of organization. So that means organ system level systems are there. They shows bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic, metamerically segmented. So this is the most important character of annelids, that they are metamerically segmented. That means the body is both externally and internally segmented into different into small repetitive portions, and these segments are called metameres. Right, so they are metameres. They have metameres, and from here the animal, all the members are coelomate. That means proper body cavity is there. They have longitudinal and circular muscles which help in their locomotion. They have unjointed chitinous city, but exception is leeches. But apart from leeches, they have unjointed chitinous city. And nereids have parapodia. They have lateral appendages which are helping their swimming. So they are called parapodia. And also closed circulatory system is there. That means the presence of artery, veins, and capillaries are there. Okay. Next is nephridia. It is again an osmoregulatory and excretory organ, that is excretory specific structure, and it is called nephridia, and it is helping excretion and osmoregulation. Right, now their neural system with paired ganglia. So here ganglia is ganglia means all the cell bodies of the neurons are jointed and they are formed ganglia. So paired ganglia connected by lateral nerves. So they have neural system with paired ganglia which are connected by lateral nerves. They have different types of receptors like tactile receptor, gastatoreceptors, photoreceptor for receiving sensitive to light, and statocysts are also there. That it is a balancing organ, right? Now their reproduction is sexual. They can be dioecious or monoecious. That means sexes can be separate or not, and they have direct or indirect development. So if they have indirect development, then the larva is called trochophore larva. Okay, so this is in case of annelida, their larva is called trochophore larva. And example is Nereis, Ferritima, or Hirudinaria, etc. So these are two pictures. First one is of Nereis, and second one is of Hirudinaria. Okay, so this is all about the phylum Annelida. Now next is phylum Arthropoda. So this is the largest phylum of Animalia. Okay, so you just remember, so this is the largest phylum, so almost 2/3 of named species on earth are arthropods. Okay, now they have organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical and triploblastic, that means three layers are there, and they are segmented, and their body is segmented, and they are coelomate, that means proper body cavity is there. Now they have they have an exoskeleton which is made up of chitin, so they have chitinous exoskeleton, and their body is divided into three portions: head, thorax, and abdomen. And their respiratory organ, they have different types of respiratory organs like gills or book lungs or tracheal system. Now they have open circulatory system, so here it is also a somehow primitive character, that their circulatory system is open, that is no veins, arteries or capillaries are there. Now they have sensory organs, they have Malpighian tubules, and they are it is mainly for excretion. Okay, they are dioecious, that means sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal, mostly oviparous. Oviparous means they shows egg. Okay, so they are oviparous, and that means they lay eggs. In their life cycle, eggs are there, they lay eggs, and from the eggs the new individual are hatched, right? And their development may be indirect or direct, and there are different examples of these arthropod. Example is Apis, Anopheles, Limulus, etc. Okay, so you have to remember each and every example from your NCERT book, and this is the example of this is prawn and arthropoda, and this is scorpion. Okay, so this is another member of arthropoda. Next phylum is Mollusca. So this is another second largest phylum of Animalia, and they can be terrestrial or aquatic, and they also shows organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, that means three layers are there. Their body is segmented, and they are they are coelomate, that means proper body cavity is there. Now there is an important example is important character is there is a calcareous shell is there. Okay, and their body is divided into three portions: head, muscular foot, and visceral hump. So these three important characters should be there in their body: head, muscular foot, and a visceral hump. And another important thing is mantle cavity. So all of them have this mantle cavity is there. So this is a space between hump and the mantle. Okay, so this is called mantle cavity, and in which feather like gills are there, which is called ctenidia. Okay, and it is also have some rasping organs, they are called radula. Okay, so next is these type of particular particular phylum is can be of dioecious, and they are oviparous. Oviparous means again they have can lay eggs and with indirect development. Okay, and here the larva is called veliger or trochophore larva or glochidium. So all these are different types of larvas. Okay, again another example. Okay, now their excretory system includes one or two pairs of kidneys known as Keber's organ or organ of Bogenus. Okay, so they have kidneys, and this type of organ is called organ of Bogenus, and which open into the mantle cavity. Okay, so this is important character of mollusca, and example is Pila, Pinctada, etc. So Pila means snail, apple snail, and etc. So these mollusca have lots of examples, so you have to remember these examples also. Next is Echinodermata. So in case of Echinodermata, they have endoskeleton of calcareous ossicles. Okay, so their endoskeleton is made up of calcareous ossicles. All are marine with organ system level of organization. So they have organ system level of class organization. Their adults are radially symmetrical, but larvae are bilaterally symmetrical. So this is important character. They also triploblastic and coelomate. Their digestive system is complete, and the most important character of echinoderm is their water vascular system. It is very important, and it is mainly help in them the food capture or locomotion or transport of foods, respiration, etc. Okay, and their respiration is maybe by body surface or gills called dermal branchiae. Okay, and their excretory system is totally absent. Sexes are separate, reproduction sexual, fertilization external, development indirect with free swimming larvae. So their larva is free swimming, and example is Asterias, Echinus, etc. So this is starfish. So this is the example of Asterias. Next phylum is Hemichordata. Okay, so first earlier they are considered as a subphylum under phylum Chordata, but now they are given a separate phylum, and it is a bridge between chordate and non-chordate. Okay, so this is called this phylum is called Hemichordata. It has some important character that is called stomochord. Okay, in case of stomochord, it is a rudimentary structure in the collar region, and it is called stomochord, and this structure is similar to notochord. That's why they are called as a bridge or a connecting link between chordate and non-chordate. Sorry, chordate and non-chordate. Okay, so this is a stomochord. Due to stomochord, presence of stomochord, this phylum is just a connecting link. Okay, next is worm-like animals. Worm-like marine animals, they are mainly worm-like marine animals with organ system level of organization. They shows they are mainly bilaterally symmetrical. Okay, and they are triploblastic, that means 3 layers are there, and they are coelomate, and their body is very cylindrical in shape. So cylindrical body composed of proboscis, collar, and a long trunk. So here in this picture you can see this is proboscis, this is collar, and this is trunk. Right, now they are ciliary feeders. Okay, so they are mainly ciliary feeders. Their digestive tract is complete, their circulatory system is open, and they have gills or proboscis gland. So they also have this proboscis gland as an excretory organ. Right, next their sexes are separate, and their fertilization is external, and their larva is called Tornaria larva. Okay, so example of Hemichordata is Balanoglossus. So this is the structure of Balanoglossus. Now this is the end of all non-chordates and all the phylums which are coming under the group called non-chordate. So in the next video, that is in part 2, we will talk about chordates. Okay, so if you like my video, please give it a thumbs up and share it among your friends, and just subscribe to Epistasis. Thanks a lot.